بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. This is how to study the Hanbali Madhab part 1. In these videos we will be talking about the methodology of studying the Hanbali Madhab, the curriculums, what are the books that you should start with, what are the books that you should not study, what are the books that you should buy, at which level you should buy, so and so. All these things that help you save your time, save your money, and make the best use of the books that you have, make the best use of uh, teachers around you, where to go, where to find the Hanabila. All these things will be tackled in these videos, how to study the Hanbali Madhab. This is part 1. In part 1 we will be talking about books and curriculums when it comes to Hanbali fiqh. The problem is that when I was young, I always saw those people who were telling me, you do not study the Hanbali Madhab from any books other than the books of Ibn Qudāmah. And Ibn Qudāmah drew the map. So you have books and you have levels, and he did everything. And when I heard this, when I was really young, I thought that, okay, so the books of Ibn Qudāmah will do the job. And this is the Hanbali Madhab, and we should not follow anyone else other than Ibn Qudāmah. But at some point I saw people explaining books like Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat, books like Zad al-Mustaqni' or Dalil al-Talib, and I didn't really understand. So what are these books, and where are the books of Ibn Qudāmah, and why should I follow this? And when someone tells me, you go study Dalil al-Talib, why should I follow Dalil al-Talib when I have the books of Ibn Qudāmah? Ibn Qudāmah, of course, is better than Sheikh Mar'i ibn Yusuf al-Karmi, the Hanbali scholar, the author of Dalil al-Talib. Why should I follow the advice of someone who's telling me, let's study Zad al-Mustaqni', Mukhtasar al-Muqni', so it summarizes al-Muqni' and everything, but I have al-Muqni', so why don't I study al-Muqni'? Especially that Ibn Qudāmah, you will have some consistency when you study his curriculum. And when I became a teacher, it was the first thing that I faced when I talked with the students. I tell them, let's study, for example, Umdat al-Talib. Umdat al-Talib is a very good book in Hanbali fiqh, and it's a concise book. It really suits beginners. And I find that the student, okay, we will study Umdat al-Talib, they follow me, no problem, but at some point they say, when we'll be studying Umdat al-Fiqh of Ibn Qudāmah? And when I was hired at a place where they allegedly teach ilm, they said, okay, we want like a curriculum and a list of books in the Hanbali Madhab, and I did so. And in the curriculum I avoided all the books of Ibn Qudāmah. So they told me, why did you avoid the books of Ibn Qudāmah? Shouldn't we start? They brought me to put the list, yet they wanted to interfere by saying, shouldn't we start with Umdat al-Fiqh, then al-Muqni', then al-Kafi, then al-Mughni? And when I was like in 2013 here in Egypt, I saw this like ad or announcement in the streets, saying the intensive course of studying al-Mughni. Al-Mughni, I cannot show you al-Mughni. It's like 15 volumes. It's a big book. And it's a difficult book when it comes to it. The content of the book is difficult. It's difficult, why? Because it's comparative fiqh. And in order to study comparative fiqh, you have at least to study one madhab in a very detailed way. Um, so I saw this announcement, let's study Al-Mughni in 6 months. 6 months and you will finish Al-Mughni. These chaotic approaches cannot lead to any knowledge. You might be someone who has a little bit of information about the madhab, but not the knowledge of fiqh. That's why you'll find a lot of scholars kept saying the same meaning, the same thing, and they were same meaning, the same thing about what you should do to get knowledge, what you should do to learn in a proper way. They said أخي لن تنال العلم إلا بستة سأنبيك عن مجموعها ببيان ذكاء وحرص واصطبار وبلغة وإرشاد أستاذ وطول زمان. You will not gain knowledge until you fulfill or you have 6 things. ذكاء, intellectuality. وحرص, dedication. Hirs means that you are dedicated to what you do, or you really care about what you are doing. واصطبار, patience. It takes years. When you go to the medical school, it takes 6 years here in Egypt. When you go to the school of engineering, it takes 5 years. Any like languages, 4 years. It takes some time. You want to be a scholar after 1 year? It doesn't happen. You cannot be a scholar in one subject in 2 or 3 years unless you are really dedicated to what you are doing. And when you go to college, you work a part-time job and you might not be working. You might be a full-time student. When it comes to ilm, you are working a full-time job. You might be a dad. You might have responsibilities, and you want to have ilm in 1, 2 years, 6 months, intensive course. You will be a scholar in 1 week. It doesn't happen. We do not do this in ilm. واصطبار وبلغة. بلغة means something that makes you reach your goal. Here it means money. يعني accepted or not, seeking knowledge needs money. That's why most of the scholars, especially the scholars of hadith, were really poor. Imam Malik had to sell the ceiling of his house, although he was rich. يعني originally Imam Malik was rich, and he had to sell the ceiling of his house so that he gets some money, and this money will help him get more ilm. Taking into consideration that Malik ibn Anas radiallahu anhu, Imam Malik, wasn't from those scholars who used to travel to get the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the resident of Al-Madinah, and he took all his knowledge from Al-Madinah. ذكاء وحرص واصطبار وبلغة وإرشاد أستاذ, and the guidance of a teacher. وطول زمان, and you need long time. It's يعني patience, long time, money, and the guidance of a teacher. These are essential. طيب, when you start studying the Hanbali madhab, you have to understand a very important thing, which is the books of Ibn Qudāmah will not benefit you. And you need to understand another thing. The books of Ibn Qudāmah are the most important books. In other words, Ibn Qudāmah is the most important man, let's say, after Imam Ahmad radiallahu anhu. So this confusion or this contradiction will be solved when you realize one thing. Al-madhahib in general, any madhab, is like a building. Someone established the basis, another one built something, a third person came and added, and so on. Ibn Qudamah died 620. What were the Hanabila doing after him? يعني from 620 to 1441, what were the Hanabila doing? This is a very important question. طيب, were Ibn Qudamah's book taken into consideration? Yes. Let's see. There is a term in the Hanbali madhab when we want to tell you that this is the chosen position, this is the rajih, but not the rajih, which means the chaotic rajih that people give when they go on TV and give fatwa. He sits like this and, okay, I will tell you the rajih because I feel like I'm mujtahid today. This is not what I mean. Al-rajih in the Hanbali madhab, the position the position that we think Ahmad ibn Hanbal said, and it was his last position, or the position that he would have said if he did say anything in that issue, and in fact he didn't tackle it. So two possibilities. And without getting into details of this part, they relied upon position. This is what we call it. In order to know the relied upon position in the Hanbali madhab, you refer back to two books, منتهى الإرادات والإقناع. منتهى الإرادات has a long name, the title of the book. منتهى الإرادات في الجمع بين المقنع والتنقيح وزيادات. التنقيح, this is a book that somehow, without explaining this, because it takes time, serves al-muqni' of Ibn Qudāmah. Al-muqni' and at-tanqih, both books were combined in Muntaha al-Iradat. And there were some additions as well. Which means that it's connected. يعني the books that we tell you to study are connected with the books of Ibn Qudāmah. But now you have an upgraded version of Ibn Qudāmah's books. And that's why it's a building. The madhab is a building. Now you reached the last level, the last thing that they have given you, or the last level that were built, or the last level that was accomplished. When I tell you study Dalil al-Talib is a book which was taken from the issues of Muntaha al-Iradat. When I tell you to study Umdat al-Talib, where it was authored by al-Buhuti, who explained Muntaha al-Iradat wal-Iqna'. When I tell you the two books that give you the relied upon position are al-Iqna' wa Muntaha al-Iradat, al-Iqna' was collected from al-Insaf of Ibn al-Insaf, a book that served al-Muqni' of Ibn Qudāmah. The second book is al-Tanqih. Al-Tanqih is a book that also served al-Muqni' of Ibn Qudāmah, and the third book is Tasih al-Furu'. It's irrelevant to Ibn Qudāmah. So why shouldn't we study the books of Ibn Qudāmah? This is the reason why you shouldn't study the books of Ibn Qudāmah, because you have an updated version of his books. We took his efforts and we built on them. So it's not a good idea to start with his books. What is the curriculum that we usually um, suggest, or the curriculum that we follow, especially here in Egypt, and my shuyukh and in Al Azhar, what are they doing? What are the books that they start with? How do they study these books? This All these questions will be answered, inshallah, in the next episodes of this topic, how to study the Hanbali madhhab. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.